Hey there, folks. Welcome back to another episode of our podcast, Deliverability Dialogues. You know Google Workspace, right?
Hmm.
Total workhorse for businesses,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to email.
Oh, yeah.
But even with Google's reputation, sometimes those important messages end up in the spam folder.
Yeah.
So today, we're going deep with the Deliverability Pro to uncover 9 common reasons why this happens, even with Google Workspace,
Mm.
and what you can do about it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me. Excited to clear up some of these deliverability mysteries.
Okay, so let's just jump right in. First up, email authentication.
Okay.
This is something that trips up even seasoned email pros.
Yeah.
It's like the VIP pass that gets your emails past
Yeah.
the bouncer at the inbox, right?
Definitely. It's without it, you're pretty much shouting into the void. SPF, DKIM, and DMRC are the key players here. Think of them as a triple check system, proving you're authorized to send from your domain, the message hasn't been tampered with, and giving mailbox providers instructions on what to do with emails that fail those checks.
Let's talk about domain reputation. This is like your email's credit score. Mailbox providers use it to figure out how trustworthy you are. And a bad reputation. Well, that can send your email straight to spam, no matter how amazing the content is.
Yeah.
So how do we build and maintain a stellar domain reputation? I mean, is it all about those open and click-through rates?
Oh, engagement definitely matters, but it's bigger than that. You've got to keep an eye on bounce rates, spam complaints, even the company you keep, so to speak, meaning the other senders sharing your IP address.
Okay, so let's move on to content.
Yeah.
We've all seen those spammy emails with subject lines just screaming in all caps and like a million exclamation points,
Yeah,
like buy now.
exactly. And those are like instant red flags, right? But it goes deeper than that. Too many emojis, misleading links, even just using certain words can trip those filters.
So it's a tightrope walk. We need to be engaging but not spammy.
Exactly.
I feel like a pre-send checklist could be a real lifesaver.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, pre-send checklist.
Got it.
Okay, we've covered content. Now let's talk about email design. Can a poorly designed email really end up in spam?
It definitely can. If an email is hard to read, doesn't look right on a phone, or it's just like a jumbled mess of images and text, it's a bad experience for the user. And mailbox providers care about user experience,
Yeah.
a lot.
So it's not just about how it looks.
Yeah.
It's about functionality, accessibility, making sure our emails are easy on the eyes and easy to navigate, regardless of what device they're on.
Right.
Are there any tools or resources you recommend to make sure our emails are accessible for everyone?
Oh, yeah, for sure. There are some really awesome online email accessibility checkers that can help you find and fix potential problems worth looking into if you want your emails to be inclusive.
Accessibility is so important, yeah.
It is.
So glad we touched on that. Now, shared IPs. This is something a lot of people don't even think about.
Right.
Can you explain what that's all about?
Sure. Shared IPs are kind of like living in a shared apartment building.
Okay.
If one tenant is always causing trouble, it reflects on everyone, even if you're a model resident.
So if you're sharing an IP address with a sender who's sending a bunch of spam, it can hurt your reputation, even if you're doing everything right.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's guilt by association in the email world.
That is not good.
Yeah.
So how can we check our IP reputation and avoid getting caught in this trap?
Google Postmaster Tools is your friend here.
Okay.
It's really helpful. It gives you really good insights into your sending reputation and can warn you about potential problems.
Okay, so Google Postmaster Tools is what we need to check our IP reputation.
Okay.
Got it.
Yeah.
Any other tools?
Yeah, tools like multi-RBL can help you see if your IP is on any block lists, which can definitely affect your deliverability.
Okay. Regular checkups are key.
For sure.
When do we need to consider getting a dedicated IP address?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
A dedicated IP can be a game changer if you send a lot of emails or if you're in a sensitive industry like finance or healthcare where reputation is everything. It gives you more control and isolates you from the spammers.
Right. So it's like having your own private email penthouse.
Exactly.
Okay. Let's talk about misleading or suspicious links.
Okay.
We've all seen those emails where the link says one thing, but it takes you somewhere completely different. It's like a classic spam trick, right?
It is, and mailbox providers are really good at spotting it.
So link accuracy and transparency are crucial, right?
Absolutely. Always double check your links, make sure they actually go where they say they're going, and avoid using those URL shorteners. Those can hide the destination and raise red flags.
Great tips. It's amazing how these little things can affect deliverability. Let's talk about permission.
Okay.
We all hate spam, right? So how do we make sure our emails are wanted in the inbox?
It all starts with permission. Always get explicit permission before sending any marketing emails. Use a double opt-in process, which means people have to confirm their subscription by clicking a link in an email.
Now, let's move on to something that might seem a little counterintuitive. The unsubscribe option.
Okay.
You'd be surprised how many senders try to hide the unsubscribe link. But trust me, it's not worth it. It's bad practice, and it can even be illegal.
It is.
And it goes against permission-based marketing, which is what we're all about, right?
Exactly.
Why should we embrace unsubscribes?
Think of it as spring cleaning for your email list. People who aren't interested anymore aren't doing you any favors by staying subscribed. They're just going to ignore your emails or mark them as spam.
So unsubscribes are actually good.
Yes.
They help us keep a healthy list. Any tips for making unsubscribing as easy as possible?
Just make the link easy to find, use clear language like unsubscribe, and consider adding a little survey to get feedback from people who are leaving. Find out why they're unsubscribing so you can make improvements.
I love that, yeah. Always good to get feedback, even if it's not what we want to hear. Okay, we've covered 8 crucial reasons why your Google Workspace emails might be going to spam.
Okay, so let's jump back in.
Yeah.
We've talked about a lot, from authentication to unsubscribes, but there's one last piece of the deliverability puzzle, the from information.
I've always wondered about this.
Yeah.
Does it really matter what name or email address shows up in that from field?
It definitely does. The from information is like the face of your email.
Yeah.
It's the first thing people see, and it's super important for building trust and recognition.
Okay.
A clear, recognizable sender name makes people more likely to open your email. But a suspicious or generic one, well, they might just hit delete.
So what are some common mistakes people make with that from field?
One of the biggest ones is using those generic email addresses, like noreply@yourdomain.com. It basically says, don't bother replying, we don't care.
Right.
And that's not exactly a good way to build relationships with your subscribers. Keep it human. Use a real person's name or your company name in the from field.
Right.
Like instead of noreply, try Sarah from your company name or just your company name team. It makes a big difference.
Okay, so ditch the no reply and use something more friendly.
Got it.
What about the actual email address itself? Any guidelines for that?
The best thing is to use an email address from your own domain, not a generic free one like Gmail or Yahoo. It makes you look more professional and it strengthens your brand.
Any other from field tips you can share?
Always double check those from settings before hitting send. It's a simple thing, but it can save you a lot of trouble.
Now, before we wrap things up, I've been thinking about something.
Okay.
Email deliverability is constantly changing, right? What are some of the biggest challenges and opportunities you see coming up?
That's a great question. I think one of the most exciting and challenging things about email deliverability is that it's always evolving. Spam filters are getting smarter, mailbox providers are increasing security, and user behavior is always changing. What worked a year ago might not work today.
So we have to stay informed and adapt.
Absolutely. We need to be constantly learning and experimenting. The email world is dynamic, so we have to be flexible.
It's like surfing.
Yeah.
You have to adjust to stay on top of the wave.
Exactly.
Well, that's it for this episode of Deliverability Dialogues. We'll be back with more tips and tricks in future episodes. Until then, happy emailing.